Good morning, everyone. Today, we'll begin with a new chapter in civics, that is power sharing. I remember I told you about this term in class 9th as well, but by a different name, that was federalism. I told you about federalism, which meant power sharing. So let's talk about power sharing today. What role does power sharing plays in democracy and how power sharing proves beneficial, right? How does it prove beneficial for the citizens of a country? A democratic rule involves sharing power with those affected by its exercise. Power sharing ensures that people have the right to be consulted and have equal participation in the government. In a democracy, each individual has a say in governance through their elected representatives, right? We are the one who choose our representatives. Why do we choose our representatives? So that they can reflect our point of views in the government. They can understand our situation and accordingly take decisions, right? By being a member of that government. Also, let me tell you, people's participation, it is either direct or indirect. For a vast country like India, it is indirect, means we take part in decision making, but not directly through our representatives. That is why elections are held in India, right? You choose your representatives, and these representatives, they share your opinions in the parliament. So what is power sharing? A democratic rule involves sharing power with those affected by its exercise. And who are the ones affected by its exercise? The citizens of the country. Power sharing ensures that people have the right to be consulted and have equal participation in the government, directly or indirectly. In a democracy, each individual has a say in governance through their elected representatives. Now, power sharing. We'll be talking about a case of Belgium. Now, if you see, right, this is the map of Belgium. If you see this, orange portion, it is Brussels, the capital region. This is Walloon. This is the French speaking nation. This is your Dutch speaking community. Now, it is French speaking community, it is Dutch speaking community, and it is your German speaking community. Now you will say, ma'am, what is the difference between Dutch and German? It's particularly of origination, right? It's particular about origination. And Germany in earlier times was known as Deutschland, right? And the people were called Dutch speaking. So this is the map of Belgium first. And if you see, it is divided, right? People of different origins are living here, where where your French is speaking and Dutch is speaking, they appear to be in majority. So again, we'll have a brief review about the power sharing in Belgium. Go through the map once again, right? Your Dutch speaking people are there, your French speaking people are there, who appear to be in majority. Then comes your German speaking, and then comes this is the capital region of Brussels. Now, difference between Dutch and German. Though Germany in earlier times was known as Deutschland only, and the people were called Dutch, right? The difference between German and Dutch is just about the origination, right? It's about their origination, because Germany, the people of Netherlands have also got involved into it, and that is a long history, right? Because we often say कि German and Dutch are same. They are almost similar. The difference is about the though they share common history, though they share common culture, right? It's just about the origination. Their origination differs, right? They differ in origination. Now, power sharing in Belgium. Belgium is a small country in Europe with a population of over 1 crore, about half of the population of Haryana. Of the country's total population, 59% speaks Dutch language, 40% of people speak French, and the remaining 1% speak German. Look at the map below to know the language variation of Belgium. The minority French-speaking community was rich and powerful. So they got the benefit of economic development in education. So first of all, Belgium, as you all know, is a small country in Europe. And the population of Belgium is about only 1 crore. That is half of the population of Haryana, right? Now, if we talk about the population composition of Belgium, there are 59% people who speak Dutch language, and they are in majority. 40% speak French language, right? And 1% speak German. Now, what is the difference between German and Dutch? The same, which is the difference between Tamil and Telugu, right? Tamil and Telugu. Telugu people understand, Tamilian a bit, right? And the Tamilian people, they understand Telugu a bit. That is the only difference. Okay. So, now, what was the problem now? The problem was that though French people were in minority, still they were powerful, right? And they got the economic benefit, and they got the economic development and all the educational benefits as well, right? Though French people are in minority, they are only 40% of the population, whereas Dutch people are 59% of the population. Still, your French people are more powerful. Why? So look at the map below to know the language variation of Belgium. The minority French-speaking community was rich and powerful. So they got the benefit of economic development and education. This created tensions between the Dutch-speaking and French-speaking communities during the 1950s and 1960s. Now, why tensions were created? Why? Because slowly, even your Dutch people, they began to advance up. Earlier, they weren't. So, tension didn't arise earlier. But during the duration of 1950s and 1960s, even your Dutch people, they began to, they got economically stronger, and even they got educationally stronger. So now, because they were in majority, they wanted a control over the government. And since your French people, they were a part of government from very long, they were not ready to give their powers to anyone. Fine. So this created a rift between Dutch and French speaking community, because no problem, Dutch people, they were not in power before 1950s because they were not economically stronger, right? They were not educationally stronger, but that didn't mean they could not get educationally stronger or they could not get economically stronger. During the duration of 1950s and 1960s, even Dutch people, they began to get financially well, and they all began to excel in education also. And this gave a stiff competition to French people, French speaking community. Now, French were in minority, and since Dutch were in majority, Dutch wanted to have a control over the government. In Belgium, the government handled the community difference very well. Between 1970 and 1993, Belgium leaders amendment means changed their constitution 4 times and came up with a new model to run the government. Here are some of the elements of the Belgium model. Means they have accommodated all the communities with power sharing. And that is why we say accommodation in Belgium. They have shared the powers among different communities. So constitution prescribes that the number of Dutch and French speaking ministers shall be equal in the central government. Some special laws require the support of the majority of members from each linguistic group. Thus, no single community can make decisions unilaterally. Means both the communities were given equal representation in the central government, right? And even certain special laws were made which require the support of the majority of members from each community. The state government are not subordinate to the central government, means they are not answerable to the central government. Brussels has a separate government in which both communities have equal representation. Brussels, the capital city. Apart from the central and state government, there is a third kind of government. This community government is elected by people belonging to one language community, Dutch, French and German speaking, no matter where they live. This government has the power regarding cultural, educational and language related issues. So very well, right? State and central government, and state government was not made a subordinate to central government. Both enjoyed their powers separately. Brussels had a separate government in which both communities had equal representation, and then one government was formed, which looked over the cultural, educational and language related issues. The Belgian model was very complicated, but it helped to avoid civic strife between the two major communities. So it was a well-made model which avoided any kind of civil war in Belgium. And the people lived happily, and the people still are living happily without any kind of conflicts in Belgium. Why? Because both the communities have been given equal power and equal representation everywhere. I hope you have understood this topic, right? Now, in next chapter, we'll be studying about the case in Sri Lanka. What kind of government was there in Sri Lanka, right? So before we'll begin with that, just go through all these slides, study hard, and if any queries there, do ask me on WhatsApp. Thank you.